Well, hey there. Are you getting ready to make a decision in your life, or possibly even rushing into a decision without knowing the full consequences of that decision you will make? You know, in the fire department, we used to have this saying that stuck with me, and I've not always listened to this advice or this wisdom, but when you would come up on a tanker that was maybe smoking and on fire, it was supposed to have a placard to tell you whether or not it was explosive contents. Maybe it could be milk, it could be water, it could be gasoline, but you would look at that and you would know if you could proceed and move forward without blowing yourself up and making more of a mess. And they had this little evaluation tool that you could like use in 60 seconds as you're jumping out of the truck. And they taught you this in hazmat and fire academy, but it was this: if you don't know, don't go. It might blow. And I love that. I still to this day use that. I tell other people that story. I recently shared it with a friend around a campfire. And there's a lot of Proverbs that talks about that. But hey, maybe you're fortunate enough to not only have 60 seconds to make the decision, but you're in the driver's seat and you can tap the brakes and you can say, hey, let me take a moment and find out what Sister Wisdom is whispering to me on this situation. And Proverbs is a good place to hear her speak. In Proverbs 14:15, it says this: the simple believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps. Proverbs 22:3 says, the prudent sees danger and takes refuge, but the simple, they just keep going and pay a penalty. Proverbs 19:2, last one: desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will a hasty foot miss the way? I know I've blown it a few times by just trying to push the deal, push the situation, push the decision, or being pushed by someone else. And these words, they help me to say simply that maybe wisdom is just calling an audible. Wisdom is saying, hey, time out. Take a moment, press pause, pray about it, seek counsel, get clarity, find out what she's saying, find out what Sister Wisdom is whispering, and get a multitude of counsel. You know, sometimes a multitude of counsel doesn't mean a bunch of gray-haired old people show up all at the same time and say the same thing to you, but sometimes a multitude of counsel is you're asking different people and they say it differently and they have different thoughts and opinions, but there's something congruent in every one of them. And maybe in every one of those people you ask are saying, I wouldn't do that, I wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't do it right now. And you just ask different people that haven't even talked to each other, but in that multitude of counsel, there often is a common theme of wisdom. And so at the fire department, if I didn't know what was in the contents of that, and that actually happened to me once, this is what I did. I had to call up and get some wisdom for someone to help me identify the contents in that tanker. Hey, if you don't know, don't go. It might blow.